producing. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should start that again. So we just start over. Thank you guys for everybody joining on here real quick. Missed the kudos to Eric, but you guys got to hear it. Anyway, before we jump into the Zoom and kind of what the process is I go through, I just want you guys to understand, I think the biggest challenge all of us have right now when it comes to attracting agents is just having the confidence to talk to agents about this incredible brokerage. So until the day, in my opinion, you get sold to the core that there is not a better brokerage option than this, I think you're going to struggle with attraction. I know in my heart of soul, I've been to enough of these big seminars we've got, the conventions, the shareholder meeting, the build, all of that, and been around these veteran agents that have all come over and heard so many hundreds of agents in the last 6 years whose lives have changed. Not just they got better in their production, their entire life has changed. And so I know in my core, this is a life-changing brokerage. And I say that to go, my confident level when I'm talking to an agent, I know that this would be a better place for them if they're in real estate trying to grow their production. There's not a better place they can go. And I know that to my core. And I'm sure that probably comes across to me when I'm talking to them, visiting with them and asking them questions. So I just wanted to start off that way, because if you think about, coming out of the pandemic, the shift in the market, interest rates, lack of inventory, well, what's now happening? NAR told us a few months back, I think like 6 months ago, they predicted 2023 would be 25 to 30% less home sales than the previous year. Agents and brokerages are feeling that right now, guys. We've had over 500 brokerages align themselves and partner with eXp in the last 12 months. Think about that number for a minute. That's 8 to 9 brokerages a week are partnering with eXp. Well, what's that telling you? Profit margins are shrinking, right? Agents are leaving. Heck, we've even heard some of them had to increase their rates. They're taking stuff away from the agents. What is eXp doing? Oh my gosh. First of all, we went from 40 to 30. They're giving us more money. They've even changed now. They kind of just altered this stock investing and how quickly you can invest. So there's all kinds of things our brokerage is doing right now to give us more, to give us more money, to give us more opportunities, and other brokerages are going the opposite direction. So first, I just wanted to start that way and go, because it comes down to, you got to have some confidence what you have hold of can help change their lives. So with all that being said, let's jump into this thing. I'm going to share my screen. And again, I'll go to some info. Again, I don't necessarily have any, to do it like this is a little different to try to go this direction, but let's start off. Okay, I've got everything kind of open, ready to go. Let me share this. Tony and you guys that came on this morning, again, before I jump in, first time I've ever missed a major event. I did not get to go to this last build. I'm in the process of selling my house. All this has been going on, so I had to bow out of build. But I've now heard, I don't know if it was Tony, but which one of you guys shared this with us, but if you go here to brentgove.com and go to build 23 resources right here, if I were to click it, I've got it open up here, it'll jump you over. And I was just told that the presentation, I guess it's view all sessions. Yeah, view the sessions right here. So go to brentgove.com, view the sessions, and come down here and see where it's Jay Kinder. I've just heard some pretty good kudos that this is a phenomenal 40 minutes of Jay Kinder talking about everything he does to attract, talking about other brokerages and everything. I have not heard it. I'm just going off of hearsay that I've heard some comments that this is incredible. So, during your drive time, maybe between appointments or in the evening, got your headset or at the gym, whatever, I would suggest you go listen to this. My goal is to listen to it the next day or two as well. So just want to throw that out. Let me get rid of that. Get rid of that. And let me come back to the screen for a minute. This is obviously after I've set the appointment with an agent, right? So I've had a phone call, I've had a dialogue with them, asked them a series of questions, and we have set up the Zoom. So when I set up the Zoom, right, obviously I then send over the Zoom link to them and so forth. They're going to join me at that date. I have follow-ups built into my Zoom that's going to continue to remind them 3 days and then the day of that the Zoom's coming up. I'll add it on their Google Calendar. I do everything I can to make sure they've got that blocked out. Yes, things come up all the time where I'd probably say 50% of all Zooms I have set up get rescheduled, right? They got a showing comes up, something like that. So just know that. Don't think that they're trying to blow you off. You guys know the deal. When the call comes, sometimes you got to jump and take care of it. Just do your very best to kind of continue to reschedule them. But once that Zoom is scheduled, I start off, meet them like this, one-on-one, and I will go over what we discussed on the phone call. Everything I found out about them, I'll kind of reiterate things about their family, how long they've been in real estate, anything that we've talked about, I'll bring those up. Then we'll start talking about what were the goals that they had in place. If they told me whatever their challenges were, I've got them down. I always like, one of my last questions I like to ask them is, you know, hey, one of the last things when I'm on a phone call, one of the last things I want to ask you is, but let's go out 4 to 5 years from now. If you could paint that perfect picture of where you'd love your real estate business to look like, what would that be? And I'll always go, what I mean by that is you and I as agents, there's so many things we can do to make extra money in real estate, right? I can flip houses. I can become an investor. I can bring on a buyer's agent, start building a team. I can spin off, become my own broker, build my own brokerage. There's different things you and I could do. I want you to think for just a minute, if you haven't, where would you really love your business to be in 4 to 5 years? But what would that look like? And from that, it's so interesting, right? Sometimes they'll start going, well, you know what? I keep debating getting my brokerage license. You know, I have started to get a little bit busier. I'm debating if now's the time to bring on a buyer's agent or assistant or bring on a VA, whatever it is they're telling me. I'm capturing that information, right? I reiterate with them when we get back on the front end of the Zoom, go over that stuff and they go, great. So first of all, man, thank you so much for joining me here. What I want to do today is I want to walk you through the presentation. Like I said, more importantly, I want to personalize it for you according to your volume, what's important to you and the things you're trying to achieve in the next 4 to 5 years. So I'm going to jump into the presentation. I've got 2 ways I can go over it with you. We can either go over a PowerPoint together and we can interact that way. It might take us a little bit longer to do that, or I can have you see it the way that I saw it. I simply watched a video presentation when I saw this. And if you're open to it, I'd love to do the same thing with you. I've got a video by a good friend of mine, one of my business partners. The guy wins at everything he does. Matter of fact, even 10 years ago, he and another business partner in California, they flipped 350 houses. Everything this one of my business partners does turns to gold. He did a really, really good presentation just a few months ago. It's only about 15 minutes long. Would you be okay if I just press play and you and I kind of walk through it together? We can watch it together. Then again, we'll do some Q&A and I'll begin to personalize the model for you. That be okay? What do they all say? Yes, right? I'm guiding them. And so I'll go, so great. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So I'll share my screen. And then I will open up and I will play Eric's presentation. Right? So I'll go, here's our website right now. And you and I'll go back over this in a few minutes, but I want you to see on this website, you can come over here and click on presentations. I'm going to take us, and here's the gentleman I'm talking about. But I want you to understand, we've got about 3,000 agents that have all working together through sponsorship all over the world. We're in 48 states and 8 countries, and we have tons of producers that are doing 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, even 40 and 50 million. And we pour into each other every single day of the week. It's pretty phenomenal. We'll get into more of that in a few minutes. But when we're done here, everything you and I go over, I'm going to send it all to you. So don't worry about taking notes on stuff that you'll see on the screen and so forth. Write down questions, and I'll go through and answer the questions when we're done. But not only am I going to show you this one today, that's only 17 minutes long, but one of my business partners, Tim, he had a RE/MAX franchise, had about 30 agents doing about 35 to 40 million. Phenomenal. He does a great presentation if you wanted some more detail. Another buddy of mine, another business partner, Jeff Morrell, he and his wife in Colorado Springs, been in real estate for over 20 years. They do 10 to 15 million regularly, does another great, these are more detailed presentations. So when we're done today, if you want to dig back in and maybe get a little bit more detail, please feel free to come here. One of the top producers in our company, Brent Gove, he and his team out of California do over 100 million. I'll walk them through and I'm trying to edify, create curiosity. So when we're done, if they have any interest whatsoever, they're going to go back here and watch these presentations. If I talk to them and it's somebody that's doing a little bit of commercial, they have a few commercial deals that get landed, I'll drop down here and I'll say, listen, I know when you and I were talking, you said you had a couple deals come through and the commercial side of things, and that's an area that you'd like to spend a little bit more time. Listen, one of our business partners in our group at Freedom Team, this lady is unreal, makes several $1 million a year. She's a developer. She's a commercial agent. Highly recommend, if you got interest in commercial, come back and watch this presentation by Stephanie. So anyway, with all that said, again, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I'm going to go ahead and click on this presentation today. I'll open it up. I'll expand the screen. I'll say, look, let's watch it together for 17 minutes. Bloom, when we're done.
Good morning. My name is Eric Golden. I'm with eXp Realty and the eXp.
this presentation, I personally think it covers everything you need to, and it's removed some of the fluff. I think what happens a lot of times, we go through a presentation and it's like drinking out of a fire hose, right? There's so much that we do to help agents, it can be almost overwhelming. I think what Eric does here is he's narrowed this down now, made it a little bit more specific, 15 minutes long, and it gets across the message, I think, in a great way. Now, Eric's in the process of developing a new presentation. It's going to have testimonies and all that stuff built into it, almost like an infomercial with presentation. So anyway, eager to see that. Not to put pressure on Eric when he hears this, but get that thing done, Eric, will you? So anyway, I will show the presentation, right? So that's going to be 17 minutes. Right when it's done, I go right back to bloop. Here we are, just the two of us on the screen. And I'll start to go, well, first of all, man, thank you. I know that sometimes we're all busy to take 15 minutes and watch that. I sincerely appreciate it. Let's start off right now, if you don't mind me asking, what was it you liked the best about what you just saw? Is there anything that kind of jumps out? You're like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of like that part. I'll just sort of start like that. And it goes different places. You know what? The leads in the KV core, or, you know what? Interesting that the whole stock piece. Can you elaborate on that? Or, you know what? It's, every once in a while, I'll have someone go, you know what? That revenue share, I didn't know whether I'd ever have interest in that, but I'm curious about that. Whatever it is they tell me, I'll start with that, right? And generally, when I start to dialogue with that, I'll jump right back over to the PowerPoint that Eric just went through. So I've got that PowerPoint opened up. So let me share screen again. We got it down here. Here we go. So if you don't have this PowerPoint, you can let me know, right? And we can shoot this over to you. So here's the PowerPoint he goes through. So according to what it is that they just commented that they're interested in, I'll jump right to it. If it's KV Core, I'm going to jump to KV Core. I'm going to elaborate as best I can everything I know about KV Core, the testimonies I've heard from you guys, what I've learned from my leaders, Jeff and all of them, and how they utilize it, and copy and paste with Facebook, all kinds of things. If you're not using KV Core, if you're using some other kind of CRM, thumbs up, keep doing whatever you're doing. If you're not set up with a CRM and you're on here right now and you're struggling to go to the next level, everything I learned in 6.5 years is it's very hard to build a big, lucrative real estate business without systems in place that can help you with AI and so forth. You owe it to yourself to get KV Core set up. And I will spend time with them talking about KV Core. Once we've gone through all that, I've asked them about what do they use as a CRM. You'd be surprised how there's a lot of people who aren't really utilizing a CRM. Or if they are, they're not really using much functionality of it, just very basic. So we'll spend some time on KV Core. And then once we've done that, if they've shown some interest in this, I'll jump over to, I'll say, let me show you one of the other things that we've done. If you decide to come over, not only can you obviously get KV Core up and running, but we can help you with that. I'll jump over to the Freedom Team support site. I'll say, I want to share this with you real quick. So I've been here now for 6.5 years. My first 4 years that I was here, when I would go to different conventions or luncheons or whatever it might be, and I'm talking to other eXp agents, I would always ask them, hey, do you mind me asking, are you utilizing KV Core? How's that working for you? Guys, probably 3 out of 4 agents I would ask that question to, they'd go, well, you know what, I'm not really using them. Why are you not using it? To be honest with you, I don't know how to set it up. And then I've come across the ones who finally figured out how to set it up, and they go, look, I got everything set up. I'll be honest with you, Sean, there is 100 hours worth of video on YouTube. I am so overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. So I'm probably using very little of KV Cores. I just don't have time to go through the learning curve. I'll say, guess what? We did something about that. Over 2 years ago, we formed a group inside of eXp called the Freedom Team. If you ever decide to partner with me, you're going to be a part of the Freedom Team, which again, we're just a bunch of agents banded together through sponsorship that all get together and we share ideas, we do masterminds, we collaborate, do all kinds of things to help us grow our business. But here's what I love about what we've done. We hired an executive assistant almost 2 years ago. She's been in the industry for 27 years. She helped build KW out on the West Coast, helped with thousands of agents over a 10-year span. We brought her on board and she helped starting putting systems in place. One of the things she did, spent over 40 hours learning KV Core inside and out. So if you decide to partner with me, one, if you're pretty tech savvy, you can go set up KV Core, it wouldn't cost you a penny. But if you're like 3 out of 4 agents I've talked to, you need a little bit of assistance. For $197 one time, Kim will help you get everything set up. We'll bring over your CSV file. If you have an old CRM that you're using, we'll tie your social media to it and so forth. And I'll say, This is me, you guys, what I say, if I'm sponsoring an agent, I'm only focused on agents who do 3 million and greater. I pause for a minute because I know that if I bring that agent over, that's $2,800 to me this year. So what I do, it's just personally, I say the same thing. And I see I've got a few people right now. Hello, Miss Cindy. Got Cindy on here, Patricia, a few people that I brought on board. Thank you guys for jumping on here today. But I've told them the same thing. And I'll tell you guys, I tell them, look, the very first 6 months, if you come on board and partner with me, I will meet you halfway on anything you want to spend on marketing. If it's getting KV Core set up, if it's targeting a neighborhood, if you want to buy extra leads, put them into the CRM, whatever it is, I'll say, so if I'm talking to a high producer, again, be careful, whatever you want to throw out there. I say, look, if you want to come over and you're really looking to go from 5 million to 10 million, you want to get aggressive. Hey, if you want to spend $5,000 or $10,000 on leads, I'll meet you halfway. You drop 10, I'll drop 5, you drop 5. Guess why I'm doing that? I'm willing to do, I know that if I can help them get set up correctly, get the KV Core up and running, help them get this CRM to start cranking, and I get Kim to walk them through, make sure they know how to use it, I know that they're going to most likely grow their business and they're going to be with me for years to come. And that's 2,800 every single year, right? Like clockwork. So I'll go, look, Kim will go through and she'll set everything up for you, right? Personalize your website. She'll connect your social media accounts. She'll add the widget. She'll help you with SEO optimization and so much more. That she'll do all that for you. Again, you can do it yourself and pay nothing. Then after you're set up, if you would like, she'll walk you through 2 30-minute Zooms and she'll spend time with you on KV Core and your social media accounts. And she'll show you how to do smart campaigns, squeeze pages, landing pages, smart number utilization, property alerts, all of that. A lot of the agents will do this for 1 month. Some will do it for 2 months. And they're like, okay, Kim, thank you so much. I got it from here, and they're up and running using the CRM and so forth. Some of you might be so busy. You're like, you know what? This is awesome, Sean. I'll be honest. I don't have time. I'm running and gunning all day, every week, out showing houses, putting listings up. Listen, if that's you, for $150 a month, she will run it for you, or at least she'll do a good bulk of the work. Look at everything she could do for you. This is a 27-year veteran who's worked with thousands of agents, put in systems, and she knows KV Core backwards and forward. She'll add blog posts 3 times a week, post specific home types to your social media accounts once a week, set up squeeze pages for your listings as they arise, create landing pages to use in marketing once a week. She'll post fun, interesting, engaging homes to your social media accounts twice a week. She'll even work to help keep up engagement with your leads, prospects, and sphere. And I'll pause and go, I want you to think about this for a minute. Even if you had to pay 100% of this, so you paid, $200 to get it set up, and maybe if you already know that she's going to run it, you just bypass that and you have her run it. Well, for $150 a month, what is that? 150, 3, 6, 9, 1,800 plus the 2. So for $2,000 for the year, KV Core is set up and somebody's running it for you. Guys, if you do the stuff she teaches you, and then I have an 8-minute video I'll share with you guys in just a minute. The gentleman who shared the 8-minute video, a lot of you guys know him, Jeff Burrell, runs our Tuesday mornings. Jeff has an 8-minute video that if I'm on with someone and we're talking about leads and stuff, I'll play the darn video. And Jeff will go through and show that if you spend about 25 to 30 minutes a day copying and pasting, doing lookups for a certain zip code, a county, whatever it might be, right? Maybe show me all houses that are 3-bedroom and 2.5 bath with a pool in the back. And you grab that and copy and paste over into Facebook. She'll show you how to do that. You do that off and on, do 25, 30 minutes a day. The average agent who implements the things we show them should have an additional 6 to 8 home sales for a year. 6 to 8 home sales a year. And I'll go, guys, let's just cut that in half for a minute. Let's just say that for some reason that did not work with you, but you had 3 to 4 extra transactions. We're talking probably an extra $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and you spent $2,000. Okay, so that's just one of the things I walk through. A lot of agents are looking for leads, and I'll go, what if you didn't have to get them from a team? What if all the leads we gave you, you got the full commission? You didn't have to split that with your broker, another team leader, or so forth. That's what you have here. We will not only help set it up, implement it, we will teach you how to use it. Heck, we'll even run it for you. Is this something, if we could get this set up, do you think this could help you grow your business? Guess what they say? Absolutely. I'll say, great. Just I want you to know, we'll take care of all of this if you decide to partner with me. Are there any questions at all about KV Core and how it works? And we may dialogue a little bit further about this, and I'll do my best, right? I don't know this inside and out. I'm learning. I've sat through a couple of the presentations Kim's given. I would advise you to do it if you haven't got KV Core set up and all that. Reach out to Kim, have her see what it is that she's doing when she spends the 2 30-minute segments with you. If you haven't done this and you're still not utilizing KV Core like you need to, man, all you do is come over here, click on it. It notifies Kim. She'll reach out to you and you guys will set an appointment and she'll walk you through how to do this. So we'll kind of wrap up. Any questions about KV Core? No, that's awesome. So I'll say, great. So any other questions about anything you've seen up to this point? And then it begins this dialogue, right? So, you know, you had said that right now you guys are growing like crazy, whatever it is that they're commenting, I'll take it back now to the stock and the revenue share, right? But before we even jump into that, I'll say, have you ever heard that comment where you're very, what's the word I want to say? The 5 people you hang around with the most, you're very similar to them in whatever it is they do. You ever heard that? Most people say, yeah. So in other words, if you hang around 5 people who curse a lot, good chance you might start cursing. 5 people that drink a lot, well, we can go on the positive side also. You hang around 5 people that are big producers, they're doing 5, 10, 15 million consistently. Guess what? They're going to start to pull you up. Well, if there's a reason why I told you why we're growing at the pace we are right now, in my opinion, because you have the ability to, if you come partner with eXp, to rub shoulders with the best of the best, not just in your brokerage, the best of the best in the entire United States. If you're not aware, I'll tell them, these are all little nuggets, guys. I'll tell them, not sure if you're aware of this, but as of about a year ago, here in the United States, 30 of the 50 states, eXp has brought over the #1 and/or #2 agent in the state. Why do you think they're all coming here, right? It's all the things that you just saw and you and I are discussing, but here's what I want you to understand. You're going to learn from all of them, the best agents, team leaders, and brokers in the country every single day. You guys, we have 10, 15, sometimes 20 classes a day pouring into you. You talk about you want to grow your business. How would you like to rub shoulders with the best of the best in the entire United States on a daily basis? Do you think that'd be helpful to you? I mean, this is all such common sense, but I don't know what you're doing in your dialogue, but always end with a question. So I'm sharing information, and then I'm asking them, could you see how that could impact your business? Do you think this is something that could help you grow your business? I'm always ending with the question and trying to get them to say yes. Oh, no, I can see how that could help. You get enough yeses, and I can see how that can help, right? You're leading them, moving them through this dialogue that hopefully they can continue to see themselves saying yes all the way to the point of joining. Oh, my gosh, I've got to be a part of this brokerage. So I'll dialogue about the training, the collaboration, the Zooms. So I'll say, look, not only eXp, first of all, is phenomenal. I praise God every day that I came across this company 6 years ago. It's been life-changing. But you know what's even taken it to another level? This Freedom Team. By putting together this Freedom Team, now there's 3,000 of us, like I said, banded together, and everybody's willing to help everybody. Matter of fact, no matter where this goes, I'd love to invite you one day to be a fly on the wall and come to one of our masterminds. Just kind of listen. I want you to see how the collaboration works and how we work together, everybody, to help each other grow our business. Would you be open one day? It could be in the next month or so. Would you be willing to sit in on one of our masterminds, just be a fly on the wall? I'd love to see, so that you would understand, if you came over, this is the kind of interaction. This is the kind of collaboration you'd have. Would you be open to do something like that? Guess what I get? Yes. Doesn't mean everybody comes onto them, but I can tell you the people that I get onto a Tuesday mastermind, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 times they end up joining within about 60 days of me getting them on them. I've had some people come back for a second one and just went, wow, I've never seen this kind of collaboration. You guys do this every single week. You're doing everything you can to let them see if they become a part of this family, they're going to have people pouring into them on a daily basis, 10 to 15 classes a day they can attend in the eXp world. We've even narrowed it down for even more collaboration, all of us getting together. Every Tuesday, we do our own masterminds so we can see each other and interact and so forth. So this is all just in the midst of my Zoom. I'm just dialoguing, and I always ask them a question. At the very end of anything I'm saying, I'm asking a question, try to get them talking to me. Everybody's different, right? That's like when Eric's training on phone calls. Yes, you can have your goal in mind on a phone call is to set an appointment, right? We talked about this earlier this morning. Anytime you have a dialogue, maybe you meet an agent in an open house, maybe you meet it out and about, whatever it is, you're trying to create curiosity. One, you're trying to create a rapport and relationship with them. What can you do to help? You guys are talking real estate. But at the same time, I'm trying to every once in a while plant the seed and create curiosity that they're going to want to take a look at eXp. And let me elaborate further. We talked about this morning. More and more agents, depends on what market you're in, they've seen eXp, or let's say this, they at least are familiar, let's put that in quotes, familiar with, they've heard things, they've hearsay and so forth. Very few people have still ever seen it. And for those that have seen it, I always come back with this when we'll get into the phone call and say, yeah, you know what, Sean, I appreciate you calling, but I saw this about a year ago. I had a friend of mine reach out to me, and it's like I said, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at and so forth. And I'll always go, that's awesome. Do you mind me asking real quick? When you saw it a year ago and they sat down with you afterwards and they personalized the model, how much higher above 100% were you able to go? Guess what that response is? 9 out of 10 times they're like, what do you mean over 100%? So when you saw it and they sat down and showed you the 3 different ways you can get paid and how those could add up to take you over 100%, you guys didn't go through that together? Well, I mean, I guess I didn't really see that part. So what exactly do you mean? They'll continue to try to dig for information. This is on the phone call, right? And that's where I'll just go, listen, I don't want to step on any toes at all. But when you had that presentation a year ago that you saw, are you still in contact with that agent? Are you guys talking like on a weekly or monthly basis? Guess what the answer to that is 9 out of 10 times. No, the guy asked me to a luncheon. I told him, hey, if I'm interested, I'll get back with you or whatever. So they're not. And all I say, great. I said, listen, if you're open, why don't you and I sometime next week? I've got some time, usually early in the morning or late in the day, whatever works best for you. But next Tuesday or Friday morning, anytime before 9:30 a.m., would you have time, maybe you and I, to jump on a private Zoom together, just be the 2 of us? And you and I have had a great dialogue. I love some of the things that you're trying to do. You're trying to grow your business. I feel sincerely in my heart that I think I could help take you to a whole nother level with your business. Would you be open, you and I, just jumping on a Zoom for about 30 to 45 minutes sometime next week, either Tuesday or Friday morning? Always ending with the question to get them on a presentation, right? If they start to dialogue with me and start to continue to ask me questions, well, elaborate, what do you mean, the 3 different ways? So how does that work? I say, listen, those are great questions. That's why I want to set up a Zoom with you. And it's 90% visual. I want you to see it like I saw it. I'm going to walk you through in detail. I'm going to show you some graphs, some different stuff. And so I'm doing everything I can to have their curiosity go, how in the world can a brokerage take you over 100% commission, right? It's just verbiage, but it's verbiage that, again, if the goal is to show the information to somebody, right? Don't tell anyone don't tell anyone anything until they can see everything. My mindset is I want them to make an intelligent decision based on all the info, not from me being on a phone call and starting to answer their questions and spew eXp to them. Because guess what could happen? You answer 2, 3, 4, 5 questions on that phone call, they may start to go, hey, you know what? In their mindset, they've heard enough to make a decision that they're fine where they're at. So until they can see everything, because I know what's best for them and their business and their family, eXp. They need to see that to understand it. So I'm never going to start sharing all of it on a phone call, create just enough curiosity to get them back on the Zoom. So once we're on that Zoom again, guys, I've just went through if KV Core is what they were interested in, if it was stock, whatever it was, I jump right to that. Then I just start asking, so everything you just saw, what other questions do you have at all? Anything. I know you said you're trying to get to a point where you could eventually have a couple of rental properties in the next 5 years. You want to grow up to about 7 to 8 million. Do you want to dig a little bit deeper on that? I'm here to help you, and I want to share with you how this brokerage could help you attain those things. So what questions can I help you with? So I'm reiterating everything that they've shared with me and continue to ask them, so what can I share with you to show you how we can help you increase your volume? So I can show you how you can make more money with less effort, right? When I get to the stock piece, so if all of a sudden it comes to the point like, no, I mean, I don't really know if I have any other questions, then I will jump to the stock, right? If we're done, we've dialogued, they watched the 15-minute, we jumped on the one thing they like the best, then I ask for Q&A, maybe we do a couple questions I answer, we're 30 minutes into the whole thing, and then I'll go, let's say, do you have any other questions? No, I mean, like I said, it's interesting. I kind of want to think things through and stuff. I'll say, great. Say, hey, if you don't mind, if you got just a few more minutes, I want to show you a couple of things that I think would be a massive intrigue to you to really understand what this model could do. Could I share a couple other things with you? Right? We're on a Zoom. They've already given me the time. I'll jump back in and I will jump into the stock. I'll go through. So let me just open it back up. Right? And back over to the presentation, which I think, yep, I got back here. I'll jump back down to the stock, right? And so I'll jump right here. We'll go over the different ways, and I'll always expand the screen, right? Every once in a while, you'll catch someone out and about in their car, they're having to look on their phone or whatever it might be. And I'll go through these 5 different ways, and then I'll begin to tell stories. I'll go through these 5, and I say, could you imagine, you said you've been in real estate now for 15 years, is that right? They'd be like, yeah. And I said, can you imagine, had you been here just the last 5 years doing the volume that you're doing? Let me give you an example, and here's the stuff I'll kind of throw out. I'm very fortunate within the Freedom team. We have dozens and dozens of agents who do well up over $10 million. I can tell you right now, I have agents on our team, the Freedom team, that in 5 years have won over 7 figures in stock. Now, be upfront with you, these are our big producers. These are our 20 million type producers, but we got quite a few of them on the team. And guess what? Again, they're pouring into you every single week. You're learning from the best of the best. And guess what? Our people over here that are training you, it's going to be different than any trainings you've ever attended. Why am I saying that? Because we're all shareholders, we all have a vested interest in our company. So guess what? I want to help you grow your production. You want to help me grow production. Why? If we help each other all get more volume and grow in our production, what's most likely going to be happening to our stock? It's going in a positive direction. So understand, all these agents, they're willing to open up their vest, show you everything. They'll give you things they've never even shared at their other brokerage, because here we're all shareholders. Everybody wants everybody to win. Does that make sense? Right? Because we're all shareholders. That's another thing that totally separates us from the brokerage you're at right now, any other brokerage that we're aware of in the United States. We're all shareholders. So everybody's willing to help everybody. It is phenomenal. So on the stock piece, then I'll say, listen, I'll tell some stories. I'll go, let me give you another example. I've got a lady on my team. Her name is Nicole. She's right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with me. Nicole joined 5 years ago. Nicole had been in business for about 13 years when she joined. She was at KW about the last, I think it was 7 or 8 years when her and I sat down. When she looked at this presentation, I was with her at a Starbucks to tell you guys, and she tells me after, said, Sean, when you were halfway through the presentation and we had covered the stock, she was about a $12 million producer. She said in the back of her mind, she's thinking, I've got to do this. I'd be crazy not to do it. This is what she told me afterwards. And she's like, she thought with the words that I shared today, she thought, you know what? I'm going to go over to eXp. If I'm going to get all of what I pay in my $16,000 all back in the form of stock, I'd be crazy not to come try it. If for some reason a year goes by and this isn't everything that it's been touted to be and everything we've talked about, I'll just go right back to where I was. And guess what? You could probably negotiate a better split. Am I correct? And they'll say, yeah. And I'll say, so let me tell you Nicole's story. Nicole came over. Her biggest year she'd had at KW was 12 million. Came over. First year, 13 million. Second year, 15 million. Third year, 18 million. Fourth year, 23 million. Biggest year she's ever had, and her is now at 17, 18 years. Guess what she did in her 5th year? Exactly what we talk about at eXp. She was able to pull back the throttle on her personal production. So this year, she told me she's purposely going from 23 million to 6 to 8 million, which she can do in her sleep. She's going from a 50, 60-hour work week to a 20 to 25-hour work week. Guess what she's doing with that other 12 to 15 million that comes to her? She hands it out to her team. She does a 25-75 split. She's not out having to hustle and bustle in the evenings and weekends showing houses nonstop. She has people doing that. She works with her family and her best friends. Still cranking out 6 to 8 million, but guess what? She is accumulating stock like crazy. She told me she's just shy of $1 million in stock. Nicole looks, be careful to say her age. She's not really that old. And I asked Nicole, I said, so do you mind me asking, so now that you've been here for 5 years, you're cranking out all the stock and stuff, what's it look like long term? She said, Sean, my husband and I have been talking about it. I'm probably going to stay here for about maybe 3 to 4 more years doing the volume I'm doing now. Remember, she went from 23 million to 6 to 8, which she could do in her sleep. She's now traveling more, spending time with their family, spending time with their grandchildren because of this model. And her goal in the next 3 to 4 years is to hopefully generate $1.5 to $2 million worth of stock. And then she's going to retire and ride off into the sunset. So here's what we tell people all the time. You come to eXp, you will look up in 4 to 5 years at minimum, you'll have options. What do I mean by that? The same story I just told you about Nicole. A lot of agents come over here, put your head down, do what you're doing now. Let's help you grow your volume, get your production where you want to go to. But your goal, you should look up in 4 to 5 years and go, wow, this is pretty fascinating. I've got just hypothetically, I got 140,000 worth of stock. I'm making $2,000 a month with my rev share. It's the month of December. You know what? I'm going to take the month of December off. I'm going to spend some time with my family. I'm going to go travel, head up in the Colorado mountains, head out on the beach, whatever it might be for you. Why? You're not solely dependent upon it. I don't close some houses this month, I can't feed my family. That's not eXp. The day you decide to partner with us, every time you do a transaction, we're going to pay you twice. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to say, sell a house at any brokerage, right? And you get paid. Now the splits may be different, transaction fee only, whatever it might be. But you sell a house over here, you get paid, but you also get stock. House get paid, get stock. Stock, it continues to grow. At some point, you look up down the road and go, wow, think about a 401k in corporate America. I'm not saying this is a 401k, but it's a great analogy. And I'll give my testimony. When I came out of college, my dad told me, son, back that time, 30 something years ago, everyone had 401ks if they were anywhat of a good sized business. And I had a 401k, my first two companies I was at. And my dad said, listen, I'm telling you, son, max that thing out. Take that 6% the government will allow you. My first company was matching. My second company was a 50% match. But that first company, I listened to my dad. He said, look, you'll get used to that 6% being out of your check, but I promise you, you will thank me down the road. As that first company I was at for 5 years, I had $127,000 worth of stock. Why? I was taking 6% of my earnings. It was coming out with the stock. My company was matching it. I look up 5 years after coming out of college, I had over $100,000 set aside in a 401k. Now, you come over here, you're going to look up in 5 years from now, according to your production, you may have 100,000, you may have 500,000, depends on where your production goes. But could you imagine the last 5 years where you're at today, had you been over here? You said you've been averaging about 6 to 7 million. You would probably have close to $250,000 worth of stock in the last 5 years. Let's pause it for a minute. What would life be like right now if you were still doing exactly what you're doing? You'd been here for 5 years and you had $250,000 in stock. How would you feel right now? I'm going to try to get into their emotions and start talking to them about what life would look like if they came over here. How their world's going to completely change. This isn't just a brokerage you hang your license at. This is a lifestyle brokerage that if you come over here at some point down the road, you're going to look up and go, oh my gosh, thank God I came over when I did. Guess the number one thing we hear when agents who finally come join, and a lot of other agents like to interview them and find out, why'd you come over? What's it been like? The number one thing we hear over and over when we ask that question, is there anything that you regret or anything that you maybe it isn't what you thought it was going to be, whatever it might be out by eXp? And they'll almost always go, you know what? I wish I'd have joined earlier. We hear that over and over and over. Have anybody on here right now, did you see the presentation 1 or 2 or 3 years earlier and you didn't join? And all of a sudden here you are, you're joining later, and it's still a phenomenal opportunity right now. But people could have joined when obviously the stock price was lower. Now, stock price is moving back up. This is me just talking to you guys out loud for a second. It's at 24 something today. You guys, 5 months ago, we were at $9. We've grown by almost 300% in the last 5 to 6 months. Are you kidding me? Again, guys, I sit here because I'm giddy. I've been here 6 years. I'm watching my stock. Are you kidding me? Tens of thousands of dollars I've made in the last 5 months doing nothing different than I was ever doing. I'm just watching my stock portfolio grow because our price is going up. I was on an alpha call about, I think it was 3 to 4 weeks ago. You guys, we have about 5 or 6 other ancillary services right now that we're working. 1 or 2 of them have become profitable. All of them are on the cusp of becoming profitable. Guess what that's doing to our stock price? Going up. Why do you think we're going up right now? Other brokerages are struggling, partnering with us. eXp is growing. We're giving more to the agents and our stock price is going up. Again, I'm way off on tangent, but I want you guys to know this is some of the stuff I'm dialoguing. We're having this conversation. I'm telling stories about other agents, team leaders, and brokers. I'm casting vision. I'm asking them, could you imagine had you been here the last 5 years? These are just all things that I'm talking about and dialoguing with them during the Zoom, right? So it's, when they asked me to do this today, I thought I'll go through it, but it's like, I can't quite go through it because it's a little different each time, but if there's at least a similar scenario, right? Phone call leads to a Zoom, set it up, usually play a video, what they like best, Q&A, jump to the PowerPoint when I'm answering their questions so they see a visual. I'm telling stories, I'm casting vision. Could you imagine, had you been here the last 5 years, what life would look like today had you been here? Well, now You haven't been here the last 5 years. Let's talk for a minute about what life would look like if you came over. If you stayed where you're at right now, if you came over here. But let's talk about that. We'll begin to talk about that. Then I'll bring up the stock and the rev share. So when I get to the rev share piece, if I've done Q&A with them, if there's someone who hasn't necessarily shown interest in the rev share, I'll usually say something like this. I'll say, listen, the third component is revenue share, right? Where if you're willing to help eXp expand its brand, our company will share the revenue with you, not out of the agent's pocket. eXp shares the revenue. Remember, I told you in the beginning, what really separates us from every other brokerage in the entire world, we take 50% of every dollar that comes in. We're a multi-billion-dollar company. We put it back into eXp, right? For better technology, more leads for the agents, equity ownership, and those who want to help expand the brand. So I'll say, let me ask you a question. The Zoom I'm going through with you right now today, you said you've been doing this for 15 years. I'm assuming you obviously know a lot of agents. And doing the kind of volume you're doing, there's probably a lot of agents who follow you, whether it's on social media or they're just very aware of you, and they would love to partner with someone of your magnitude doing your kind of volume. You get that, right? There's so many agents out there struggling to do 2.5, 3 million. Here you are cranking out 6 million. They'd love to know, how did you do it? Guess what? If you were to come over here, the Zoom that you and I are doing, if I could do these Zooms with you or even for you and help you create a whole third stream of income that would be purely passive, would you be okay with that? Kind of a silly question, right? Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to do something, so I'll say, look, think about how many agents, right? And again, I'm statting off just quotes. NAR tells us, National Association of Realtors, 1 out of every 3 agents around the United States are probably a little bit discouraged about their current situation. Whether it's the brokerage, whether it's the volume, they're just not content. Guess what? They're open-minded. When you get to where you're not achieving your goals, you become very open-minded. So when I bring that up, they're all on board, and I'll say, look, let me just share very briefly about what we're doing on the revenue share. If you decide to come over, I'll do everything in my power to help you grow your revenue share and create that third stream of income of passive. Do you realize right now, let me ask you a question. How many agents do you think you know right now that do greater than 2.5 million? Yeah, I mean, dozens, I mean, maybe 30, 40, whatever, depends on how long they've been in. I'll say, how many of those agents, if they knew what I just shared with you today and how they could go over 100% commission with the stock and with the revenue share, do you think they'd be open to see something like this? Yeah, no, I'm sure there's probably a few people. I say, look, any of those agents, if they ever say they're open, the Zoom that you and I are doing, I'll do it with you, or I'll even do it for you. If all of a sudden you've introduced me to the agent on a quick phone call and they're open and we set up a Zoom and all of a sudden you can't get on it, I'll run the Zoom for you, because guess what? When they decide to join, if they do, I'm going to put them on your team. What does that mean to you? $2,800 a year if they cap. Capping over here is about 2.7 to 3 million, right? Just depends on your commission. Let's just call it 3 million. That's $2,800 to you with that one agent. What if right now, and I'll generally, after I go, I'll say, if you don't mind, could I take just 5 minutes and walk you through this last little piece? I know Eric touched on it. I just want to make sure this is crystal clear. And I'll walk them through very quickly the slides, right? Attracting one agent. I'll say over the course of the next 3 years, do you think you and I working together could help you find 2 agents a year, 2 capping agents a year that do about 2.5 to 3 million, 1 every 6 months? Do you think that's pretty realistic? What's the answer to that? Yeah. Well, in 3 years, if that's all we did at that pace, you'd have 6 agents, 6 capping agents has you at 16,800. What's our cap? 16,000. I already showed you with the stock how you can go over 100%. Now I'm showing you with the rev share how you can go over 100%. Can you imagine combining them? If you were here for the next 3, 4, 5 years, can you see now how you could forget being a 16K cap? Our agents have put their heads down and go to work. Most of them look up in 3, 4, 5 years, and a lot of them are over 100% commission because of the rev share in the stock. And then the last thing I love to always pull up after I've gone through this is I'll open up the, see if I've got it right. Not the stock. You guys see right now, 2463. I love it. Okay, I'll come back up. Where is my, oh, here it is, rev share calculator. Because the last thing I'll do is I'm wrapping up on the rev share. I'll say, listen, so I just want to take 2 minutes and have you kind of help me with this. I just want to show you again, this is, you don't have to do this. Only 12% of our agents participate in revenue share. But please understand, if you decide to put any kind of focus here, I'm going to help you. I have a massive vested interest to help you build a team. But like I said, I'll even do the work for you if you introduce me to the agent. But let's just go through for 1 minute. I'm going to send this over to you afterwards. You can play around with the numbers. You told me, you said you'll probably be in real estate to the day you die, right? Most agents will say that, or if that's not the answer, they'll say, oh, I'll probably be in real estate another 5 to 10 years when I ask them. And I'll say, let's just go over 5 years. Let's say you come over here in the next month or so, you hang your license here, we go to work. We plug into KV Core, you start earning stock, we start increasing your production. And let's just say over the course of the next 5 years, you refer 2 agents a year. So in 5 years, you will have referred how many? 10 agents. Remember, if these are capping agents, 10 agents at 2,800, look here, that's $28,000 a year to you extra over the next 5 years, right? That's over $100,000. But guess what happens? You attract 10 agents. You ever heard of the 20-80 rule? About 20% of the people bring in 80% of the money to any kind of brokerage company, whatever. Same thing here. If you bring in 10 agents over the course of 5 years, let's say that those 10 agents, all they did was attract or sponsor 1 agent a year. So that would be 5 agents on your tier 2, which means you would have 50 agents. And I'll always say, listen, it's not going to happen like this. Not all 10 agents are going to share it with 5, but guess what's going to most likely happen? You'll have 2 of your 10 agents probably go sponsor 5, 10, 15 agents. You'll have another 2 of those 10 sponsor no agents. You'll have the middle 6 sponsor 2 or 3 agents. That's just the world we live in, but this is a very realistic number. Now, because you've sponsored 10, remember, 5 unlocks tier 2, 10 unlocks tier 3. So let's go to tier 3 for a minute. It's unlocked. Of those 50 agents, let's say all they did was in 5 years attract 2 agents, 1 every 2.5 years. Very doable, right? That almost happens by osmosis. People ask you about your brokerage, you love it, and you introduce them to your broker. Over here, same thing, but you're going to get compensated from eXp. If this took you 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 1 year, there's no reason we have to wait 5. I'll always say, what do you think this might be paying you once this is in place? Even if it took you 5 years. Every once in a while I'll hear, I don't know, maybe 40,000, 30, 50, I don't know, maybe 100,000. So let me show you what this looks like for you. $388,000 a year in passive income, not counting your production, not counting your stock. Could this entirely change your, not just your life, your family for generations to come? Can you see how that can happen? Again, I'm asking a question. So here I am talking, but I'll always ask it a question. And that question sometimes leads to a very deep dialogue. I've had people start to tell me about how frustrated they're not even near retirement, I've had people almost get emotional in a presentation, how this could be like the lifeline or that they need to help change their entire life. Then I'll come back up here and say, look, and you might be looking at this going, oh my gosh, that is crazy. I've been in real estate for 15 years. I don't make 400,000 a year. Let's come up here. Let's just cut this in half. Let's say, you know what, Sean, I don't think I could do that. Let's cut everything in half. Let's say in the course of 5 years, all you did was attract 1 capping agent a year. Well, you'll lose tier 3, right? So let's change this to 0. Let's just say that we're here to help those 5 agents all attract 1 agent a year. Very doable, right? And I could see that. If this is all that took place, whether it took you 5 years, 3 years, whether we did it in our first 6 months, once this is in place, you've sponsored 5 agents at eXp, we help them do the same. You're making $94,000 a year passive income. Can you imagine what life would look like if you looked up in 5 years, had 150 to 200,000 worth of stock, you're making 94,000 a year in passive income, and you're still in your production? You would probably have the ability, if you wanted to, just like Nicole, to pull. You don't have to, but if you're looking for time freedom, people get into real estate. I've had this dialogue with them on the phone call. Why'd you get into real estate? People get into real estate because they want to be their own boss and they're looking for freedom. How much freedom do you have when you start doing about 4 and 5 million a year? You're working your tail off, right? 50, 60 hours. It's different over here. You come over, you look up 4 or 5 years later, you eventually can slow down, pull the throttle back. Why? Well, if I got 150, 200,000 with a stock, I'm making almost 9, 10,000 a month in rev share. I could pull back the throttle on my production like Nicole did. I start to hand out some of my buyers and stuff to agents on my team. I do a 25-75 split. And now I've started to buy my time back. I'm spending more time with my family. I'm traveling, my grandkids. Could you see how if you hung your license here, Brian, this could begin not just to you changing brokerages, this could be life-changing. And I mean that sincerely. Can you see that? That's it. I don't have anywhere else to go with this other than doesn't mean everybody says yes, obviously, but if you've had a dialogue, you've dug deep, you've answered their questions, found out what their needs are, how this could solve that, then began to cast vision, told stories, asked them what their life could have been like had they been here the last 5 years. We can't change that, but boy, we can change the next 5 years going forward. Everybody with me? Because all that I'm doing is just a dialogue. These are the screenshots. I already have them open. I can jump to them. We're wrapping everything up. And when I wrap up the Zoom, it's 11:01. I'll wrap up in 2 minutes. When I wrap up the Zoom, I'll always, according to if they've shown interest, which well more than half of them are very interested, I'll say, look, what I'd love to do is a second step. I'd love to see what a day in the life looks like as an agent, right? So if we can set up the next Zoom, wouldn't have to be even 25 to 30 minutes, but I'd love to show you how easy it is to talk to our broker. Or if you've got a question about a transaction, or you want to learn some more about our marketing department, whatever it is, I'm going to show you how quickly you can get support here. And we have another tool. Remember, I talked about Workplace by Facebook. I want to show you how 88,000 agents and 2,000 plus employees, how we all collaborate, how we all help each other. Shouldn't take us but 20, 25 minutes. Would that be advantageous for you to understand what a day in the life would look like if you were an agent over here at eXp? They don't say yes, but well over half go, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'll say, great. So is there some time next week? Again, I got a couple open and I'm setting the Zoom up for that. And like I said at the beginning of this, if some of you were on here and didn't hear it, again, Eric kind of said the same thing. I'm the same one. Not that we're here to start consuming the time of our brokers, but I've created a relationship with a couple of the Texas brokers. And this will be my third time where I've reached out to one of them on Workplace Chat and said, hey, I've got a veteran agent I've been talking to for over 2 years. They do some pretty good volume, showed in the presentation, they're very interested. They really wanted to hear from a broker. Said, would you be open? Shouldn't take us 10 to 15 minutes if one day next week I jumped in the world with you and met you in the broker department and brought this agent with me. Oh yeah. The last two I brought over getting ready to join. They sit in dialogue with that broker, ask them all kinds of questions. Once I'm past the second step dealing with the broker, my third step I've done is I'm now setting up a meeting. I've had Jeff and Tim on, I've had Eric on, I've had Kathy on. I'll bring a third party on. I'll say, so listen, I know you've gone through all this. It sounds like you're right on the cusp. And again, I want you to just, whenever it's right for you, we'll move forward and make this as smooth a transition as possible. But would it help you to hear from a couple other agents that have been here for maybe 2, 3, 4 years, get a different perspective, pick their brain? I know you came from RE/MAX. Again, one of my business partners sold his RE/MAX franchise to come over, or I know you've been at KW for 6, 7 years. I've got hundreds of KW agents that have moved over. Would it be advantageous for you if I brought one of them on and let you just ask some questions, anything you want to ask them, right? Now, how long you've been on board? Why did you come over? Is there anything you would change about why you come over? Anything like that? Would that be helpful? Half of them say, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. It could even be a 3-way call, right? That's my third step if necessary. Once I've done all 3 of those steps, if I do all 3, I'm done. There's nothing else I can do with them. That I'm wrapping up after that phone call. They're interested. They're like, yeah, I need to pray about it, whatever. And I'll say, listen, said, obviously I've shared everything with you. I've sent it over. You got to talk to a couple agents. I know you met with the broker. And first of all, thank you. Thank you for spending all this time. I hope it's been advantageous to you. You could see what this could do for you and your family. I said, would you be okay while you're thinking this through, over every month, maybe once a month, if I sent you over one of our top masterminds, right? We do, like I told you, we do them every single week. We got some masterminds that I've even had veteran agents that have been in the business 20 years that will listen to some of our masterminds and go, oh my gosh, I've never even heard that. And they'll implement it into their business. I got another story from Jeff Morrell right now. Jeff was on a Zoom with us 3 weeks ago. Another Icon agent got on and trained. They gave a tidbit about what they do in a listing. Jeff went back to Lane, his wife, told her, oh my gosh, you got to watch this video. She went through the video training. They implemented in their business. Yesterday, she had a showing for a lady who found them online, that mastermind he uploaded, and it's a $1.2 million home, flying in to look at it yesterday. And Lane and Jeff got that because of something he learned 3 weeks ago on a mastermind. I'm telling you guys that if you're not plugging in on Tuesdays, you owe it to yourself to go back and listen. So let's stop right now. I've gone 5 minutes over. Questions at all? I'm willing to hang for a few, but any questions about anything we've covered?
Hey, Sean, just real quick. Multiple people are asking about the PowerPoint, that Eric has and your calculator. I know we all have different ones, but where those could be found, or if you could share them.
How about I'll put them in Workplace and the Freedom Team. I'll upload his PowerPoint. I'll upload the RevShare calculator. Okay, so they'll be in there. I'll put it in there today so you guys can go grab them.
Thank you, Sean.
You got it. I haven't opened up the chat. Other questions? Okay, there it says, well, same. Has this been helpful at all? Did anybody get anything new out of it? I mean,
That's great.
again, I wasn't sure quite how to present this. Okay, good,
You
good, good.
mentioned the 8-minute video that Jeff Morrell has. Is that on
Yes.
is that lead generation?
I'll share, I'll show it to you guys. I'm not gonna play the 8 minutes. I'll show you what, and I'll upload that as well. I've kept it. It's pretty, let me pull up my Gmail. So when I'm talking to an agent, if they're really talking about leads, look, and maybe they're struggling to do 3 million, trying to go to the next level, I just have mine stored here under Eric, or excuse me, under Jeff Morrell. Oh, well, if I could do my alphabet right, H-I-J. What in the world? Where's H-I-J? Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe I got it under KV Core. My bad. Here it is. KV Core. I know it's right here. Quick KV Core training. So you have it. I'll upload this. He did this video last year. April, boom, it starts off. I'll just let you guys see the beginning of it. It's powerful. I mean, some of you guys can do this live. We'll see the first minute and a half.
Hey everybody, Jeff here. Just wanted to share a quick couple tips that could help you guys generate some good leads, some free leads. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here and go to my KV Core page. We all get KV Core, just a tool that we have here with eXp. If you haven't set it up, I would tell you just to take some time and set it up, learn how to use it. It's a powerful tool, but there's a couple quick things you can do just to generate some good, free traffic to your website and get some free leads. Okay, so here's my KV Core page. It's connected to our local MLS right here in Colorado Springs. So this is something you could do multiple times a day on your business Facebook page or your personal Facebook page. You could share this. So this is what you do. I'm going to go in here to our homepage here on KV Core. I put in one of our zip codes. We got about, 15, 20 zip codes here in Colorado Springs. I'm just going to put in 80920.
You see
It's
one
up
of
here on the
them.
north side
Another
of
minute.
town. Single family homes. Let's say I want to do a 4-bedroom minimum, maybe 2.5 bath minimum up to that area. Let's just say $650,000. I do a search. Okay. It brings up 8 homes that came up in that match that criteria right there. Here's what you do. Copy and paste that address out of the address bar, out of your browser. Copy that. Highlight it, copy it, go to Facebook, and I'm just going to do this here on my regular Facebook page. I'm going to paste that link, okay? It creates a link on here. You'll see this. Homes in 80920. Now I can just type in here, who's looking for a home, a home in District 20. That's the school district up there, up to $650,000. Okay, free list of homes. Click here. Okay, and then I post that. All right, I'm going to post that right now. But when I post that, here's what's going to happen. It's going to bring up that page right there. And then when they click on that, it's going to take them right back to the results of that search right here on this page. They're going to see these 8 homes. Now, I have my KV course set up where they can look at 2 homes and get all the info. The 3rd home that they click on, now a pop-up window comes up. They have to put in their name and their email address. I personally don't ask for the phone number. You can require that if you want. But KV Core has what's called a smart CRM system into it, okay? When they put in their name and their email, KV Core automatically goes out and searches the internet and auto-populates their phone number into the lead that we get in the back office of our KV Core. Now you can call them up, find out what they're looking to do, use Aaron Kinn's training.
Okay, so we'll just stop right there for a minute. You guys get the gist of it. Depends on who you're talking to, but if it's someone and it's really all about leads and there's someone sitting around that 2.5 to 3 million, they're trying to grow their business. I'm going to spend a big majority talking about KV Core, showing that video, telling some stories and that kind of thing. So whatever their biggest need is, focus on it. I'll upload that 8-minute video. I'll put the link in there, put the PowerPoint in there, and I'll put the rev share all inside the our Freedom Team workplace group. Other than that, guys, thank you. Is there any last question or two? Again, I'm more than happy. I'm sorry we've gone long, but hopefully it's been helpful for you guys. Any last question or so?
I have a quick question.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
hi, so to be clear, we don't have to get permission from the listing agents with all the leads that are pulled through the KV core with what Jeff just did?
No, Brian, you were about to say?
No, you do not. It's public information. I mean, it's out on the MLS and it's IDX feed that's tied to your KV core. So if you're part of a board MLS, a board
Right.
MLS, that information is going to your feeding your KV core. So you do not. All you're doing is populating homes that are available. And if they click on them, it will show who the listing agent is.
Sure.
If you dive deep into the information.
You might want to check your state, because our state's different than that. I mean, we have to get permission in Georgia. So check your state, check with your state broker.
Tony, even if you're pulling it through your own website.
Yeah, you do. You have to get the permission to re-advertise it.
Just
Thank
pull
you for bringing that up.
even EXP listings.
Yeah, you do. You have to get that agent permissions. Just ask your state broker, and if they say you're all clear, you're all clear. If you're not, you need to call those agents every time you do something.
Great point. Thanks, Tony.
And Jeff will say toward the end of that 8 minutes, they say, look, guys, I've been doing this for years. And he goes, if people will just do this, spend 25 to 30 minutes a day, he'll say on there, and just went on to your business page and copy and pasted 3-4 times a day. You can do it in every different zip code. You can do this 5, 6, 7 times a day. It's on your business page, which is tied into your Facebook and all that stuff. Goes, you do that. The average agent who comes over and implements this and does it every day, you should sell an additional 6 to 8 houses a year. And that's where I'll kind of pause and I'll go, let's just say for some reason that didn't work for you like that, and you only had an additional 3 to 4 home sales, right? If I'm talking to somebody that's at a transaction fee only, they're paying $395 and $50 a month. 1 transaction, they're better off over here. 3, an extra 20, 30 grand. Again, everything about this, I'm sold to my core. I know this is a better fit for them if they're trying to grow their business. And I hope that's coming across as we're dialoguing, casting vision and all that. There is no better place than this, but you've got to know that. And if you're not taking advantage of all these things, you need to plug into our Tuesdays, get the freedom, get the stuff set up with KV Core, take advantage of everything we have, and let's grow your business first so your confidence increases and it's easier to attract. And the last thing I'll say is, you guys know I'm not selling houses. People always ask all the time, well, I don't feel like I'm a good enough producer to call on somebody that does 10 million. I talk to them every week. They don't ask me about me. They don't say, Sean, how many houses you sold? How long have you been in real estate? What were you doing before? They don't ask me. So get that out of your mind. Be confident. You're at a brokerage where the best of the best are all coming here. There's a reason for it. You're here. So get sold on what you got hold of. Take advantage of it. And you guys, thank you for your time today. I sincerely appreciate you everybody jumping on. Make it a phenomenal week. Please let me know if I can help. I'll go put that stuff on Workplace here in the next hour. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Sincerely appreciate you guys.